Welcome. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects every single one of us, personal finance. We'll talk about what it is, why it matters, and how even small steps can make a huge difference for your future. Think of personal finance like the toolbox for your life. The better you understand it, the more prepared you'll be to build the future you want. This is Finance Foundations, Episode 1. Topic: What is personal finance and why does it matter? Distributed by Meridian Finance Solutions. All right. So, what is personal finance? Well, it's how you manage your money, spending, saving, earning, investing, and planning. It affects your freedom to make choices, handle emergencies, and reach goals. Without personal finance, many of the goals that you have in your life might be way harder to achieve. And the third point is that learning money skills early can set you up for long-term success. If you know how to manage your money when you're young, then you can build upon that money and have more money when you grow old. And teens who manage money now gain certain confidence and avoid future mistakes. So for all the teenagers out there, if you can learn how to use financial powers to your benefit, then you can help not make those mistakes in the future. Now, here are a couple of eye-opening facts. Only 63% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, including many with full-time jobs. Now, I said only, but that's a huge amount. That's so if you asked 10 people, six of them may not have enough money to cover if they get into an emergency. That's a huge problem. And in terms of teens, most teens want to learn personal finance, but only one in five high schoolers take a personal finance course. That's a huge problem. And even though that can be tackled in a different way, just for us right now, it's important to realize that not many high schoolers know about this. And that's why it's more important that they learn about this. Now, here's the question that I want you to think about throughout this presentation. Will you be prepared when it matters most? Because financial challenges aren't just adult problems. They can happen at any stage of life. And without early knowledge, many can fall into debt, bad spending habits, or financial stress later in life. Now, why does this actually matter? Well, personal finance affects nearly every part of your life. What you can afford, your freedom to make choices, and your ability to reach your goals. Whether it's saving for a car, paying for college, or building your dream lifestyle, understanding money gives you better control instead of letting money control you. And the better you manage how to earn, save, and manage your money, the more options you'll have when opportunities or emergencies come up. This will reduce stress and increase stability for you and your family. Now, let's start with a couple of key terms. Personal finance is your overall approach to learning, earning, spending, saving, investing, and protecting money. Budgeting is just making a plan for how you will manage how to use your money over time. With a budget, you can make sure that you don't overspend or, save too much and not have fun. And financial literacy, that's the having the knowledge and confidence to make informed financial decisions. With this knowledge, you can build wealth, and mastering just the basics will help you avoid the most common mistakes. Now, let's look at a real life example. Alex works part-time and earns $400 a month. Without a plan, he'll be spending all this money on food, clothes, and subscriptions, and he'll end up with $0 in savings. However, after learning personal finance and how to properly manage your money, he starts saving $150 a month and tracks his expenses. Within 6 months, he has $900. Keep in mind, before he had zero, and now he has almost $1,000 saved for emergencies or future goals like college. And with just this one habit, he's completely changed his financial situation. Now, let's look at the five areas of personal finance. Earning, that's income from jobs, side hustles, or gifts. Spending is where your money goes. It's daily fixed bills or flexible costs. And saving, well, that's just setting aside money for goals or emergencies. And investing, that's making your money grow over time through assets, and protecting is the last one. This is avoiding scams, managing debt, and preparing for risk. Without one of these five areas of personal finance, you'll not truly be able to understand it completely and it can hinder you in the future. That's why it's so important to cover all of these topics. Now, let's look at numbers example and let's see the power of starting early. So if we start saving $25 a week, that'll equal $1,300 a year. And if invested with 7% interest annually, that money grows dramatically over time. After 10 years, it becomes over 18,000. After 20 years, over 50,000. And keep in mind, this all started only with $25 a week. This shows that's without winning the lottery or making huge sacrifices. It's just small, consistent saving and letting time do the heavy lifting. Starting early will allow your money to grow, and this is called compound interest. Now, it's also important to note a couple myths or misconceptions. So the first myth is I don't make enough to care about personal finance. That's obviously wrong. Why? Because the actual truth is that the less you earn, the more important smart money choices become. Even though it's true that all those big shot CEOs and all those finance investors, they do need to care about their money so that they don't get scammed and so that they can grow it. But even though you may not earn too much, it's more important to save this so that you can keep it in the future and not just spend all that money at once. And for the second misconception, it's that budgeting is too complicated. But this often is wrong because it can even be done on paper or a simple Google Sheet. We have a couple of tools for you to use, but you can also make it yourself. And it doesn't have to be perfect at first. It just needs to start. All you need to do is start in order to start on this journey in personal finance. And the third misconception is that only rich people invest. This is similar to the first one, when in reality, the truth is that you can start with just $5 to $10 using teen-friendly platforms. With these platforms, even though you aren't like too rich right now, you can start your personal finance journey and make up for that when you do become rich. And the last one is I'll learn later. This is a huge problem because delaying costs you both money and opportunities. If you always think that you'll do it later on, then you won't be able to reap the benefits of starting early and you'll just become more busy later on in life. Now, in terms of habits that help, there are two main groups in which I made this. So, mini savings goals. This is the first main habit. So, you have to track every dollar for 1 week to understand your spending habits. Make sure that you understand what's going into your bank account, what's going out of it, how you're spending things, and the quantity of which you're spending. And part of this is setting a mini savings goal. For example, you can spend $100 for a concert or new gear. With these small savings goals, you'll be able to not waste your money at the first time that you can, and you'll be able to build up to stuff that you really do care about. And the second habit that helps a lot is budgeting tools. So the first part of this is to do weekly money check-ins to build awareness and consistency. What these check-ins are about are making sure that you know all where all your money is going and that you're not, having a couple of subscriptions that may be taking your money and that you understand how money flows because that's one of the main parts of personal finance. Make sure to also use budgeting tools like Google Sheets or apps to stay organized and make sure that your budgeting works. Now, here is your money challenge for this week. Look, first choose one short-term goal that you care about. For example, a new phone, a trip, or a gift. Break it down. How much do you need and how much can you save weekly? Then after that, identify 1 to 2 things that you can cut or reduce. For example, you can cut maybe a bunch of snacks or a couple streaming upgrades that you may not need currently. Write down your goal and start tracking your progress weekly. What this means is that once you write down your goal, it'll be more cemented in your mind and you'll be more focused on achieving that. And by tracking your progress, you'll make sure that you don't forget to do this and that you're on the right path. Now, this was the end of our first video in the Financial Foundation series.